Welcome to Flourish Women's Ministry on FHTV. Tonight you'll be seeing quite a few familiar faces. The first woman you're going to hear from, she's Sipe. She's on our dream team and you may already know and love her. She's a psychologist and she's going to be sharing some tips with us on how we're able to remain mentally healthy during this current time. So many women are facing different circumstances and different challenges, and so we need to adapt the way that we have mindsets and how we go about things. And she's going to be sharing some tips on how we are able to stay mentally healthy during this entire time. And then you're going to see an interview between Cherise and Kelly. Kel has made such a difference in her community. She saw a need and she reached out and did what she could with what she had in her hands. And she's going to inspire and hopefully encourage us to do the same in our community. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, my name is Pe Matuge and I am a clinical psychologist by profession, and I just want to chat to you about some coping mechanisms for this time that we're in. But before I do that, I just have a disclaimer. So this is in no way meant to replace your current routine. So if you are working with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a medical doctor, or any other mental health practitioner, and you guys have a set routine, please stick to that. This is in no way meant to replace that. This is merely just some tools that you could add to your routine to enhance your life. I would also like to encourage you, if you perhaps find one or two things that you like, that you'd like to incorporate into your routine, please speak with your mental health practitioner before you do that. Okay. So also there's quite a lot that I could talk about in this video, but for the sake of brevity, I'm only going to focus on one or two that I have found to be most prevalent with my patients and my clients at work. So, anxiety and fear, absolutely normal during this time that we're in. Remember, anxiety it's your body's natural reaction to vulnerability. So your brain detects that you're vulnerable or there's a threat, and anxiety and fear is that reaction to that. The problem is sometimes we tend to let that state of anxiety get the better of us. Okay, so how do we deal with anxiety? Well, let's start with how we frame or how we view anxiety. So how about we start viewing it as anxiety is a signal to pray. So now the question is, how on earth do I pray when I'm in the middle of a panic state or state of anxiousness? Well, the first thing I want you to do is, in that moment, start with, what are you feeling? Is it a headache? Is it a painful stomach? Is it numbness or tingling limbs? Is it sweaty palms? What are you feeling? Secondly, what does it feel like? What does that feel like? So you've got a headache. Is it a throbbing headache? Is it a pounding headache? Where is it on the head? If it's your stomach, does your stomach all of a sudden feel runny? Or your innards twisting in on themselves? How is it feeling, right? Thirdly, what's the trigger, right? And for a lot of people, it's usually their surroundings. So where are you? What are you doing? With whom are you doing it? What are you thinking about, right? What are you talking about? What are you listening to, right? So if you can answer those, that you'll be able to find what are some of the things that actually trigger you. Now, go through these questions with yourself, and instead of just merely answering them and just forgetting about it and moving on with life, how about you tell Jesus about it? So that's how you pray through anxiety. You literally answer these questions, but you talk to Jesus about it. So that conversation could be like, hello, Jesus. So that feeling is back again, and it's feeling like a throbbing headache, or it's feeling like my insides are twisting in on themselves, and this is what's happening around me, or this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I'm worrying about. Okay. Also, you could actually write that conversation with Jesus, write it down in your prayer journal. Okay. And the nice thing about writing it down in a prayer journal is that you can actually go back and track or trace what are some of the triggers that trigger that state of anxiety. And if you know what triggers you, you're in a better position to overcome anxiety. Okay. And of course, this is an old cognitive behavioral trick that all psychologists use when dealing with things like anxiety and panic disorder. Okay. Once again, remember, it's absolutely normal to feel anxious. So allow yourself to feel it. Don't fight it. Don't tell yourself to stop feeling this, stop feeling that. It's only going to make it worse. So allow yourself to feel it, see it, recognize it, and then simply let it go. And you do this whilst chatting with Jesus. Also, this is a pandemic, not a productivity contest. This is something I've been telling a lot of my patients and my clients all the time. I didn't phrase it so nicely. I actually got this from Dr. Caroline Leaf. So Dr. Caroline, thank you for that. But she's absolutely right. It's not a productivity contest, guys. It is a pandemic. I mean, if you go onto social media, all you see are people posting about this is the time to improve yourself. That business that you wanted to get off the ground, this is the time to do that. This is the time to work on yourself. This is the time to declutter that room. Guys, we all just need to calm down. It is a pandemic, right? Now, I'm not saying we should all roll over and die. Nor am I saying that we should just all be couch potatoes and do nothing the whole day, although that is nice sometimes. I mean, because doing that, it actually can be harmful. So it is very important that we have goals. However, our goals do need to be realistic. Think about it. If you have 1, 2, 3 or more little kids, how are you supposed to start a business, right? Where you're going to find the time to declutter that room, because you have to homeschool these kids, you have to entertain them, and you have to do all of these things with your kids. So it becomes a little bit difficult. So, but I mean, if you are one of those ladies that is able to do all of this, that's absolutely fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. Perhaps even in the comment section, just list a few tips for the rest of us, because some of us are really struggling with this actually. So set a goal for yourself, and the goal can be anything. For someone, for example, who is in a state of anxiety and it's crippling and it's difficult for them to get out of bed, something like taking a shower, that is a goal, and it's a major one. For someone with a lot of kids, they wake up at 6 in the morning and they're up the whole day, it's difficult to find time to take a shower. So a goal can be as simple as taking a shower. Whatever your goal is, it has to be realistic, it has to be smart. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I really hope that you find 1 or 2 things that will help you.
So thank you, Kel, for joining us and for encouraging us today. We're really excited to hear all about the project that you had undertaken during this lockdown period. So can you tell us what you did?
Okay, so I came out with a little bit of a giving back project because I found that a lot of us weren't. I actually had a friend ask me how I was doing during lockdown, and started to ask myself, how I am feeling, and I wasn't really affected, to be very honest, because I was in such a busy time at work at the time, and I needed to rest, kind of. So my first 2 weeks, I just chilled, and then when a friend asked me how lockdown was treating me, I started to really reflect and see, ask myself how I'm doing, but also to put myself in other people's shoes and ask, but if I'm doing okay, what about other people? Let me actually reach out and see and put myself in other people's shoes. If I could picture myself in an informal settlement now, how would lockdown look to me, kind of thing. And then it started to really dawn upon me that I was very fortunate to be in the position that I was, and for it not to affect me that badly. And then so that's what brought it about. I had to put myself in somebody else's shoes, and then I started to think, if I was in a shack or something, what would I need at this time? What would be my number one necessity? So I started to think okay, if I can help, what would that look like? And then I started to really think, if I was a mother, I would need to feed my children. If I had lost my job, because a lot of people are just paid daily wages, it's not like they earn a salary or anything. And if they're not at work, they don't earn anything. And how would moms carry on? So I just thought, let me try and think about what I do have and not what I don't have, and what can I do to help. So then I started to just think about what I do. I have a little bit of a following in my business. I could get people involved, and number one to me was like, if my two most important things, I think, if you can be safe during lockdown, to feel safe at home, and to be able to, at least get some sort of nutrition into your body. So that's where I started. So I was like, okay, what I do have is a little following, so I can reach out to my business in some way and ask people to perhaps give back in either in a monetary way by donating a gift voucher for food, or getting people to drop off actual groceries at the house. So, and it was actually, I thought, what is the best way for people actually not to come to my home and to stay at home but still give back? That was a very cool thing that Checkers did. They did like a little voucher where you can literally just click on the link and send a voucher to somebody's phone, and they could go and get groceries.
That's amazing. And so you rallied up an army of people, and how did that work? Did people just buy vouchers? And once you had all the vouchers together, what happened then?
So a lot of people did drop off food at our gate, and then we would just tell them, okay, drop it, and then message us when it's there, and we'll quickly run in and sanitize and do everything.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of people did, but mostly people really wanted to just be in their homes and give back somehow, and they were able to do that through that link. So what happened was, I got all the SMSs sent to my phone, all the vouchers, and then my husband and I would go to Checkers, do all the shopping, and then go and deliver it to the drop-off zones. Because, I mean, Lloyd and I had time at the time, and we just wanted to give back in some way, and that was probably the best we could do at that time, was our time, and with a whole bunch of people's resources. I think we raised over 15,000 Rand in about 3 or 4 days. And there were so many people that, like small businesses, that wanted to join in. So that was so cool. So we could open it to Conquer Tea Lounge also wanted to join, so that added a bigger percentage of people to contribute. And then there was another hairdresser, which is the Fountain Hair and Beauty. They also wanted to be part of it. So then, I mean, it's 3 businesses, small followings, and we just added, and that's how it exploded. It was so overwhelming. People were incredible.
And how would you encourage others to help communities that are less fortunate than their own?
I think it's just so important to actually not be overwhelmed by what you don't have, but really just think of what you do have.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have so many friends, and it's just such a ripple effect. When you start giving, everybody else wants to join, So I just want to encourage people to never think that you don't have enough to give, because 1 can of baked beans is literally a meal for somebody, and people are living literally meal to meal now. So just an encouragement to not get overwhelmed by the excessive needs that there are at the moment, but to really just start in small ways. I mean, sometimes when we have extra food that we didn't end up consuming, you just add stuff to it, like chickpeas and all kinds of things. And I mean, when I go to the shop, I just keep a meal on the side of my chair, just because I know there's going to be somebody that asks me for something. So just small ways that you can really just, keep your old clothes in your car, anything like that you can, really just bless, because there is, I promise you, I've never seen the amount of people in need as I have. I've been so aware of it now as well, but it's just so much at the moment.
How incredible was that? Thank you so much, Sipe, for sharing some gold nuggets with us of how we're able to improve and make sure that we stay mentally healthy. And thank you to Cherise and Kelly for inspiring and encouraging us. May that motivate us to make a difference in our own communities with what we currently have in our hands. We hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. We'll see you again, same time next week. Have a wonderful week further. Bye-bye.